Have you ever wondered how some people make eating healthy, exercise, and managing stress look so easy? You can too. Welcome to Wellness Wisdom, where we uncover the secrets to lasting health and happiness and empower you to make wise health choices, see results, and create a healthy lifestyle for good. Join Camille Kennard, licensed social worker, certified health and wellness coach, a self-care specialist on the journey to explore how to make health and well-being possible for you. It's a health and wellness journey you can take together. Please welcome your host, Camille Kennard.
Welcome, everybody, to Wellness Wisdom today. It's a beautiful July day. This month, we really are focusing on freedom, letting go of maybe what's been holding us back and being able to live the best life that we have. And today, we're going to kind of incorporate a lot of different things in the episode we have today about gratitude, about connection, just freeing ourselves of the limiting beliefs that we have through connecting to ourselves and to others. And I'm so happy to welcome my guest, Devonya Madsen. Devonya, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here.
So glad you're here. And Devonya and I met in another one of the wonderful connections that I've made in a networking group called the Heart Working Group, where people are just amazing and very kind and there for the same reason, to support each other in business. So I want to tell you a little bit about her. She and I connected because she has a passion for helping people write their stories and create connection in their lives. She's a mother of two incredible daughters and a daughter to an incredible mom. They and her brother are her biggest fan club, and they encourage her to create and define the magic the world has to offer. She worked in a corporate role for many years, supporting both clients and employees. And after being downsized, she took a step back into her self-proclaimed years of intentional poverty. I love that. Like taking a step back away from the corporate world to enjoy time with her daughters while they were in school. And she says it's a decision that she doesn't regret at all. And she currently works in the financial industry by day, and then she uses her creative passions during the hours that she can find. Totally understand that. And Devonya, I didn't know this about you, but you grew up on a small farm, which you still help with in the summer. That might be something we want to talk about too. Her mom is known as the Corn Lady. And her mom's one of the reasons that she created her business, which is called 52 Memories. And we'll be talking a bit about that. She said her mom always took us on her adventures and taught them to value experiences together over things. And she said that advice has created many memories. And her brother also encouraged her to make every summer count with her girls, Kaylee and Emily. They were able to make a lot of memories focusing on their time together. So I'm really excited to talk to you about, what got you thinking about writing down memories and collecting memories and helping people, connect to their family through the memories. Can you tell us a little bit about, your experience, with your daughter asking you to write down your memories? Tell us a little bit about that, like what started that.
Well, when you're younger, you always think about, I'm going to keep a journal. And probably when we were young, we did keep a journal of some of the things that happened to us. And if you go back to read those, they're probably pretty hysterical at this point. And then you get older, you get busy, you have kids, and life just gets crazy, and you don't, I think, do it as well. And so what happened is I raised two beautiful daughters, and for the majority of our time together, it was just the three of us. So we were a very close-knit threesome, and the time comes when your oldest grows up. I mean, you work for that, then suddenly they grow up and they leave. And so my oldest, Kaylee, had gone off to college, and it was one of those really hard mom moments for me, because suddenly our whole dynamic had changed. And bless her heart, she realized that, I suppose. She was trying to determine something that she could do for me. And so she started writing me a memory every week at school. I honestly think I was probably part of her homework because that's when she did it. But every week I would get an email or she'd send me something, and she would tell me or remind me of something we had done together, something that had been important to her. And I don't know if she had any idea what that was doing for me, but it really helped make that whole transition a lot easier. First of all, because I got to hear from her. Second of all, she remembered some of the things that we had done. And what I had maybe not even realized was the things that were important to her, she was telling me about those again. And it was a great way for my other daughter and I to sit here and remember those things together, knowing she was away. And it created an additional bond between us that was unimaginable. It was such a great gift for a mother to receive. So she did it for a whole year. She lasted
every week for a year, huh?
Every week. I mean, we weren't 100% perfect, but
yeah,
for most of the time. And I still have lists of quotes that she had written and reminded us of, a DVD she put together. She was very creative in the ways that she delivered it to me. And so I have those all printed out and I hang on to them. And whenever I need a good boost, I go read through them. So it was great at the moment, but it's still great now, almost 8 years later, that I have those to go back to and look at. So, when you ever need one of those days, it's a good thing to look at.
Yeah, I love that because, for any of us to feel like our relationships matter, and like for you as you raised your children, the connection you had with them, the things that you did for them, I think for any of us, that's really powerful to look back on our lives with that happiness, with that, oh, I'm so glad we did that. I'm so glad we, went on that trip, or we had that funny day where this thing happened. I love that idea of just like connecting to each other through those things that you've experienced together. And it sounds like that was a wonderful gift for your daughter. I think my mother would have loved that. I'm the oldest of 8 children. And when I left for college, she just cried her eyes out. So
it's a mom thing.
Hard. Yeah, it's so hard. And so I think, something like that is a wonderful gift. And tell me what it did for you. I mean, it sounds like it helped you remember the things that you guys had experienced, but what did it do for you as a mom to hear that from your daughter?
Oh, it was, it was one of those paydays that, you get back for just knowing that you were there and that you did things and that they made an impact. And it was wonderful to hear that. And like I said, it made the transition easier for me. And it helped me to realize what was important for her then and how I could even perpetuate that forward. And, when it was over, I really missed it. And so I turned around right after she finished and I did the same thing for my own mom. And I see my mom, I talk to her every day and I see her very often. We live very close. And so you would think, well, you have all that time together anyway. But I turned around and I wanted to be able to write some of the things back to her. It really inspired me to tell my mom the things that I remembered and the gratitude and just the things that she had done for me that I hadn't mentioned to her in a long time. She also will not write her own history. I cannot figure this out. I have tried every imaginable thing, saying, Mom, you need to write this down. And she just won't do it. So I was able to take, again, another 52 weeks or a year. Every Sunday she comes to dinner and I would write a memory and leave it on her plate at dinner. And sometimes she'd read them with us and sometimes she would save them and read them later. But she then started correcting me for all the things that I was not remembering right. And I'm like, well, Mom, they're my memories, so write your own. But,
yeah.
But it's really great now because it started a conversation between us. Again, it helped me to realize all the many things that she did for me and still does. And so that bond just strengthened, even though I thought we were pretty bonded. It just continued to help me see her in all the lights and all the different ways that were important. And so now she has a book and I have a book with her stories in it, at least a few of them, and with a few little notes where I was wrong.
I love that. I love that. And I love how you said, you guys were already close. And I think for a lot of us, we feel like, well, we're close to our family and, people are important to us. But when you really pull out those special moments, those wonderful things, it creates even more of that connection. I think that's really powerful. And you mentioned earlier that one of the biggest things is it's really helped you feel gratitude, right? Gratitude for your mother, gratitude for your daughters, just gratitude for life in general. I think that's huge.
When you realize what people have done with you and for you, and you're able to say that to them again and let them know, I just think it creates a wonderful opportunity to just thank them. And you feel it when you're given it, and you also feel it when you're able to tell someone else that.
Even as you're talking about, I'm kind of getting like some little chills of like, just because I know how important gratitude is. Like, it's a well-researched topic that the more we show gratitude, the more happier we are, the more fulfilled we are in our lives. And, it's easy for us to look at what we don't like or what is not going well in our lives. And so I love the idea of gratitude and these memories is really about savoring the positives, savoring the connections, really like expanding on what is good about life, what makes life worth living, what makes life wonderful. And I love that it also helped your mom kind of do her family history in a fun way, right? It's not like sit down and write down, okay, in kindergarten, this happened. And in first grade, it was kind of a little bit more, it sounds like kind of a fun way to do it, right? That you were sharing those with her, which your history is a bit of her history as well, right?
That's true. That is true.
So I love that. And you're receiving and giving, which I think both of those are really important. So what was that like for your mom when you were doing that for her? So you said you'd kind of just set it down on her plate every week when you guys had dinner together?
Yeah. And like I said, it was interesting because sometimes she would say, okay, well, let's just read through this right now. And she'd read it. And sometimes we'd read it aloud, and I would have my girls here. And, it was fun because they got to hear things that they were like, oh, I didn't know you did that, Grandma. And it really, not every single time are they all that big and extravagant memories. I mean, some of them are little things like my mom, every morning of my life, I do not remember a morning that she didn't get up and make me breakfast. And I mean, she went to work, she did everything else just like everyone does. And yet now that seems like such a big deal to me. Then I was just like, everybody gets breakfast. And so it's like, they're not monumental. Sometimes it's those little things that you really stop and think, wow. And I think for her, it did give her the opportunity to start talking about some of those things. She still won't write anything down, but but we do have them. And by having those conversations, I could still put some more of it down. I can write more items because, you think you're always going to remember the things that you're told or the things that you've done together, but you really forget. It's hard to remember them all. So it's been a great opportunity to do that with her.
I love that. And it's part of her being able to have that legacy, of what her life experiences have been like as a mom raising her kids. I love too that you mentioned it helps us to actually remember what went on, because if you get my 8 siblings together, we remember everything totally differently. And our memories are our own, but I swear I'll have my siblings say to me, that did not happen, Camille. You made that story up. So I love that, just kind of collecting them, and maybe it's a kind of a fun way to laugh about what happened, or like your perspective on what happened, because everyone has their own perspective. If you shared a common, situation or experience or whatever. What were some of the memories, I'm curious, that your daughter shared with you that come to mind that were meaningful to you?
There were obviously times that we had taken some sort of a vacation or a trip. Those are kind of the big ones. And she would share back those things and which ones were more important to her and what events that we did that she really liked. But then she would also share things like funny sayings that we had around the house. Or she said, remember when this happened and why we always say this. Or there was one particular time when my youngest daughter things just fell out of her mouth that we couldn't understand. And she had documented a whole list of those, and we got a really good laugh out of that. Or she did a lot of sports growing up, and she would recount some of the situations when we were traveling. Or there was a time that when we were traveling that she experienced a guy who got a little crazy, and we ended up calling the cops because he created a scene of where they were. I mean, things like that, she wanted to help make sure I remembered it. And she remembered saying, Mom, I was so glad you were there with me. so I didn't have to do some of those things by myself. And talk about mom moments and mom heart that just melts you when they realize, hey, you did my laundry, thanks. You stayed up with me at night to do my homework, thanks. It was stuff like that that really touched me, and they weren't big things. They were just what
The
you
little
felt like
thing
was my job, And I'm glad she noticed.
Well, it's like, for any of us, when someone notices something positive or good that we did, or we made an influence, and I think it's especially hard as a mom when you're raising your kids and you think, do they even know? Do they even have any gratitude here? Because they can sometimes be, just thinking about the next thing for their lives and not really notice that. But those are those payoff times, like you said, where they look back and they say, oh, thanks, Mom, for doing this, or for, taking this time for me. I love that. So when you gave yours to your mom, is there any memories that kind of stood out to you about your own growing up, or your experiences with your mom?
Yeah, my mom has always been really big on adventures, and I think you mentioned that earlier. And I'm so grateful for that whole mindset that she created for me, because she was that mom who just, let's go to the zoo, let's go out in the field and do this. Or she just was very good about realizing we didn't need to buy stuff. We just needed to do stuff and be together. And I always give her a lot of credit for that, because that's what creates memories, but it also is what created us a strong family for us. And, we had funny things. She has also a really kind of crazy thing about my mom is a hairdo. She, and I think a lot of women her age, I probably shouldn't say this out loud, but she'll be 83 next week.
Oh yeah.
And, she has this hairdo that she gets done once a week. She still does. And when we were kids, we knew that every Thursday afternoon she'd go get her hair done, but every Thursday earlier afternoon, we'd go in the summer and hit water slides because she loved them and she could get her hair wet.
Oh, wow. That's awesome.
So just crazy fun memories like that. And again, I really give her a lot of credit for helping me know that it's the things you do together and the time and that you spend that's the most valuable.
That's so powerful, especially I think of how things are changing in our society right now, with technology, cell phones, video games, all the things that, they have their purpose, but they can disconnect us from our family. So I love that this is a way to really maybe even see what you value in your family, right? And then, like you said, that propels you to want to make more memories, right? And do more things like this to bond and to be together and just have those good times. I love that was what your mom valued, that she was creative and she took you on adventures and, did fun things with you, because that really is what makes a difference for any of us with the ones we love, is what time we spend together, right? It's not what
really true.
Toys they buy us or things like that. I mean, I think about all the things that I got as a child, and the biggest thing was being with my parents, on trips and that time together as a family, even to sit at the dinner table, together.
Oh, yeah.
Nowadays, that's just not something that's as common, and I think that's really important to have that bonding time. So this is really powerful, writing down memories, ways to bond us. Who else? So you wrote it for your mom, and then your daughter did it for you. Is there anyone else that in your family or that has experienced this?
Not my immediate family, but some of my friends have done it, and it's been fun to listen to their stories. I have a friend she's almost through the whole 52 weeks. She's doing it for her husband. She gave him that as an anniversary gift.
Oh, wow.
And what's really been fun to watch happen there is she has her two children, and one of her youngest he's 18. He's probably close to 19 now. And he has stopped me one day. Who gets stopped by an 18-year-old boy?
Yeah.
He stopped me. I had happened to walk into the place that he works, and he's like, Devonya. And I was like, what? What's going on? And he said, I just wanted to tell you how fun this has been for me. And I was like, what's been fun for you? And he said, well, so every week when she shares a memory with her husband, she actually she slaps it up on their fridge. And so they all can read it before she puts it away. And she says, I have learned things about my parents I had no idea about. And I just thought that was pretty powerful to get an attention the attention of an 18-year-old kid. It's pretty powerful in general.
That is.
But it was fun to see that. So I've watched that happen. I've also had people tell me that they were doing it together as a family to send a memory to their grandma, to make sure that every week someone was in touch with her and she was receiving something from the people that she loved. And I thought, you can't come up with a better gift for someone who, of course, probably has everything, but to let someone know that you spent the time to do that for them and that you're thinking about them. I just thought it gave me chills. And honestly, I talk to people and there's tears more than I like to admit, because you just know that it touches people. So
I love that. And, because I've spent so many years working with elderly people, and then I have my own grandma who's 94 this year.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I realized that sometimes that stage of life is so hard for people because they think, I can't do anything anymore. And do I have value? And, what is my purpose for still being here? Right. My grandma will always say, well, why am I still alive? But I think something like this could really, really help people see their value, right? And how important the time that they spent with others was, and the connections that they made, and the things they did for others. I love that. Thank you so much for sharing that with me. That's really cool.
Well, and that 94 years of experience, she's got a lot of lessons.
Yeah.
Wow. So that's great.
Yeah, I think that's an important thing too, right? Is helping the lessons that you learn influence the next generation or people who come after you. That's really powerful. Well, I love this. Is there anything else that you want to share about your experience with the 52 memories before we kind of move on?
No, other than, if you have those people in your life that you don't know what to do for them because they have everything.
Yeah.
This is really a great tool to engage them, and just to, in whatever manner you do it, even if you send one birthday card off and put a memory in there for them, I think it just does such a great job of helping them realize that, like you said, their importance, but your gratitude for them. So just go try it. Give it a go.
I love that. Thank you so much for sharing that. And I think that this is what you're doing is really, I think is such an important thing for any of us to recognize the value of our lives and our relationships. So we're going to take a quick break. And when we come back, I would love for you to talk a little bit more about how you have made this into a business, what you do for people, and maybe some of the people that you've seen try it out and what their experience has been.
Have you ever had one of those days when you feel like you can't keep doing it all? When you feel like the demands of work, family, and life are just too much? Are you trying to make others happy, but you are miserable? Do you feel like your brain is constantly in a fog? Do you worry all the time and can't shut your brain off? Do you wish you had more time for yourself? Do you want to find more stillness and quiet your mind? Many women feel overwhelmed and stressed with the demands of family, work, and other responsibilities. It can literally push them over the edge. What if you could have a weekend away to dedicate to you, to your well-being and self-care, to eat healthy food, practice invigorating yoga, get calming massages, and spend time in quiet meditation with nature? Join Flourish Wellness for our Mindfulness in the Mountains wellness retreat in the beautiful mountains of Eden, Utah. Learn to quiet the mind and to listen to your body and fill your soul with self-love and acceptance. Register now, space is limited. To check out the cabin and accommodations and to register, go to flourishwellnessconsulting.com under live events or email Camille at flourishwellnessconsulting.com. This fall, make yourself a priority and learn to make peace with your body and like who you are for good.
Welcome back, everybody, to Wellness Wisdom today. We are having a really fun discussion. I'm meeting with Devonya Madsen, and Devonya has created a program called the 52 Weeks of Memories, where you take a memory every week and you share it with your family. I'm sure you could do this with friends as well, to make meaning and connection to those people, and also just to show gratitude for what you're for what they've done for you and for what your life has meant, to you. So I love what you're doing. I think that's really cool. Can you tell us a little bit about, so your daughter did this for you, where for 52 weeks when she was away at college, she wrote down funny memories, vacations that you went on, all those different types of things. And then you did it for your mother, and you kind of saw how that really was meaningful to her. And then how did you get to where you were like, I want to make this into a business or create something here? Tell me about that.
Sure. I know it was one of those things that it took me a while to figure out how I could try to share it, because like I said, the impact for me was great on both ends, receiving and giving. And it was so much fun to watch what it did to us as a group, a family, that I thought, how do I share this? And it, like I said, it took me a while. And finally, one day I just thought, I wonder if there's a way that I could do this, just be like the cheerleader and provide the information to people and encourage them to do this with, like you said, family, friends, whomever, or for themselves or for their own grandchildren, just whatever you want to do to somehow document. So basically what I did was come up with 52 topics, and there's a few other bonus ones out there too. And I just keep thinking of things. I mean, people will say to me, how could I do that for 52 weeks? I don't have that many memories. And yes, you do.
Yeah, you do.
So what I did was create this ability to go out to a membership site every week, and I provide for you a topic. So I send you an email each week that reminds you, hey, this is your topic for the week, and just kind of give you a brief overview of it. And then you have the opportunity to go out to this membership site and just take a look at some additional content. I try to not make it, you had mentioned earlier, the chronological kind of, okay, well, what did I do in kindergarten, first grade? Where did I live? I was hoping with the intent of creating these topics that it would be more storytelling, that you could really pull a memory out of any period of your life. And maybe that would make you, I don't know, elaborate a little bit more, or just pull out the stories that really impacted you. So you can go out there, and in that content, for instance, there's one about a water memory. And it gives you the chance to say, okay, water, what do I do? Could it be a swimming memory, a memory at the beach? My greatest talent in this world is floating. I know that sounds really weird, but I can float. And so anywhere. And so, just talking about that and how funny that's been with my kids, because they know mom can always float no matter where we go. And I'm just trying to pull memories out, whether it's a memory, one of the topics is talk about a time that you laughed so hard you cried, or favorite unique clothing that maybe your grandpa used to wear. My grandpa wore overalls, and so when I was a kid, I would take his old overalls, cut them off, and wear short overalls because I thought I was like grandpa, and it was just fun. So trying to create those stories in maybe a different twist, in a different way. So you go out there and you'll have those contents, some of those ideas. I share. It's kind of been a little self-serving. Is that bad? Because I've been able to relive a lot of my own memories. I shared a lot of little tidbits there to get you started. I'll put a few clips in there to maybe some music. There's so many of your senses will bring back memories, whether it's a song you hear, a smell, a taste. So trying to rely on those senses to bring those stories back to life as well. And then also there's a little section in each week of make a new memory, just some ideas of things that you can do. Because I know earlier you also mentioned that in the world of technology, we sometimes get away from things, but it also gives us the opportunity to come back together. And through this, you could share this and do this as a group, where you are maybe on some sort of a video conference, or you're sharing things through FaceTime, or you're making sure that you see face to face with someone even once a week, even if you just say, hey, you know what, let's make it kind of like a phone call, or however you want to do this, just to make a connection. So that was my way of saying, okay, how can I help people? I wanted to provide content and information and to cheer you on, and then allow you to figure out what's the best way to do it in my situation for the group of people that I want to do this with or for. And as I said, you can do it for people. I really loved it as a gift idea because that's kind of how I first dealt with it. But it's also a journal writing option. It's something that you can help create a family history with for your family, or for, like you said, your grandma, getting some of those memories. It gives you topics to ask them about. Or you can just, take I'm a brand new grandma. She turned 6 months today.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And I want to be able to document her growing up, her childhood from my perspective, because I think sometimes as a grandma, you can step back and see that as a mom, you're so busy and you're overwhelmed and you're taking care of that cute little baby all the time. And so it's just maybe a help to provide information and things for her, stories for her, but also for her parents. So you can just, you really, like I said, you choose how you want to use it. My goal was to provide you content and ideas and a cheerleader.
I love that. So there's 52 different topics.
Mm-hmm.
So every week has a different topic to kind of get you thinking of a memory from it with that has to do with that topic.
Correct.
So what if, like you're saying, the water one, and I think this is something where you kind of have to sit and kind of maybe take a little while to kind of think about it, right? Like, what memory do I have of that? I think it gives you that chance to kind of go back through your mind and think of what things maybe pop into your mind. I know with my grandma, her short-term memory is not the best, but she can remember her childhood like really well.
Mm-hmm.
And so giving people a chance to kind of, I guess, like just sit there and think of, okay, what was that memory? What was that thing? Is there anything that you would suggest for people to help them remember things? Is there anything that you've noticed kind of helps people? I know you mentioned like the smells and the sounds and things. I know that's for me is a big one too. Is there anything else that you think would help people kind of bring those memories up?
I think, like I said, I try to tell little stories in the content. And sometimes a topic, I think you'll immediately think of 5-10 different scenarios or stories that you want to tell. There might be another topic where you just sit there and go, I have no idea.
Yeah.
Nothing hits me. And I put quotes in there, like I said, music, and hopefully some of those things will spur you onto an idea. But if something doesn't resonate, there's always the opportunity to go back and talk about a topic that you had a multitude of things, because every situation, every group of people or family is a little bit different. There's one about sports, and there are just some people that sports is not part of their life at all.
Yeah.
But, maybe they watch the Super Bowl for the commercials, or they know they have a big family party because they get to eat during a big sporting event. So, there's ways to kind of twist it around, but if something just really doesn't resonate, skip it, move on, and go back to something that did. There's holiday, those are all bonuses, and there's always holiday memories that you could kind of throw in if you're trying to really do it consecutively. But I think you're right. You kind of just can sit back, and hopefully those little tools and those kind of little initiators will help you to think of, oh, wait a minute. And, you don't want to make it hard. You don't want to make it hard on yourself. If something doesn't immediately come to you, don't stress, because once you start to stress, then you think, oh, this is too big of a project. I don't want to do it. So don't make it hard. And just realize my philosophy is it's like a paragraph to a page. You don't need to write a novel.
Yeah.
You just need to, even sometimes 3 or 4 sentences or will describe an event. Or even if you then turn around and say, hey, thank you for doing this, and just send a thank you note off. It's just make it work for you, but don't stress and don't make it hard, because you want to do it. And some weeks it will come to you a lot faster and easier than others.
I think that makes a lot of sense. And I kind of look at it as the same thing as like being creative or coming up with ideas, is that sometimes those come up for us when we're least expecting it, right? You might be out on a walk or a bike ride or looking at the clouds outside and something comes to you. I try to keep a notebook to remember certain things, that that came up for me, because sometimes, they're like a certain topic may not bring something up for you, but I love that it's kind of, whatever works for you and for your family. I'm wondering, have you had situations where people maybe don't want to do this for their family, but they want to do it for like a friend or somebody that, has been in their life that is important to them? Can you tell me, has that been a...
Yeah, because you really can do this for anyone. And you may have a close friend, a best friend. In fact, I was with a friend of mine last night, and it was kind of fun. And I thought, I need to capture these things. She was telling my daughter, she said, your mom and I, when we were young and when we were in high school, we used to do this, this, and this, and this. And I thought, I haven't thought about that for a long time. And just having those connections again with her. And I thought, I really need to document this stuff too. I need to write it someplace and to be able to share it with her. So you are exactly right. You can do it for anyone. You can also do it in, take these things and maybe you have a group that you do things with. And maybe you all put that together and share it. And you have one common place that you put those different memories. You mentioned earlier with 8 siblings, everybody remembers it differently. And maybe this group of friends, if you had a location where you were emailing or you were putting it into a Google Doc folder, whatever you want to do, and just compiling all of that, maybe you give the topics and you can just remember together the things that you've done and what's important. So you really honestly can do this pretty much in any scenario you can think of.
I love that. As you're talking, I was even thinking about, definitely with my siblings, all of us, the 52 memories is just basically getting you to do one a week, right? Basically, but it could be so many different memories. Like every week, 7 of us could send a memory out, right? And same thing with my grandma. If she had I think she has 54 grandchildren, and then she has 7 children. And so if each of them, sent out a memory, she'd have this book of, the just little, even if it's just paragraphs to read of things that people remember. I think that's really, really powerful. Is there a situation that comes to your mind, or someone that has done the 52 memories, one of your clients or someone that you've worked with that kind of had a good experience with it that you can tell us about?
Well, I'm thinking in particular, and I'm sorry I keep going back to my friend with her spouse, because so often I think we think, well, let me do it for my mom, let me do it for my child, let me do it for my dad. And sometimes we maybe forget to share those good memories with a spouse or a partner or a friend. And, just the building of that relationship. And again, the fact that she has been able to say, you do this for us and I appreciate it. And I think there's some great relationship strengthening abilities in that as well. And she has told me that he just beams when those things are put up and he gets to see what she remembers about him. So I think that has been really powerful.
I think that is amazing, because so many times the person that's right there in our life with us day in and day out, they often don't get the best side of us, or those for them to recognize their value right now, not after, not later, not after you've been married for 50 years, but what things do I remember that happened last week, or whenever it was, that were valuable for me, that connected me and that helped me feel loved, and for that other person to, I just think this could be a book. This could be, there's so much that you can do with this, because I just think that it's changing the way people view themselves and view their relationships, because it's focusing on that connection and what we get from each other and the gratitude. I love that. I think that's so amazing, how that can, really make a difference for people's lives and improve your relationships and all of that. So I love that. Any other things you want to mention about what you do? I know you send out emails that kind of give the prompt of, okay, this week we're talking about memories with water, memories of, your first bike ride or whatever, anything else that kind of goes along with that?
So, no, like I said, I send out those to remind you, give you the link back into the site, and it's that additional content that I think really helps to make the difference. Sometimes you might just get that email and that might be enough. It might be a reminder and you might hurry and just do something and send it off. But for those times when just the topic alone doesn't, just knock you over with 15 things to talk about, having that opportunity to have that additional content and go somewhere else. So that email will remind you to go in there, take a look. And once you are part of the program, I do have a Facebook group that I have put together that will allow us to kind of interact back and forth with each other and just share. I mean, because those things can be very powerful as well when you're able to share what I'm doing or what experience I've had or what I found works really great in my situation. Ideas are wonderful. In fact, I have so many ideas. Some days, don't you? We all think you get very sidetracked. So
exactly.
But,
yes.
But it's wonderful to share that and have other people maybe tell you what they've done and give you some insight as well.
I love that. This is the sky's the limit with this. I can see this, like, you do videos. We have now so many opportunities to make videos. You could do a little video, not even needing to write it down, of a memory. And that's a way, maybe someone that lives out of state or in another country that's important to you, that you can send something off to them.
Well, you could do it, through YouTube, Marco Polo, whatever. I mean, Marco Polo has been such a great tool of just staying in touch, so quick and easy.
Yeah.
Right. You could, and sometimes just speaking it is a lot easier than putting it down. Just somehow save it. Somehow make sure you have a way that it's at least in the memory. I mean, in some sort of memory form that you can retrieve. So you have it, so you don't lose that, because you'll want to go back and listen to those too, as well as somewhere down the line, you're going to leave a legacy for kids and grandkids and things that they're going to wonder, what do you mean you had a rotary phone?
Yeah,
exactly. What is a rotary phone? It'll be fun to have a lot of conversations.
It's funny to me that kids don't know what that is. I was working with kids in foster care, and we had pretend phones that were rotary, and they're like, what is this? Anyway, it's kind of funny.
My mom still has one. That's why she still has one.
Yeah. And then I think that's so interesting to think about as well, what scents bring back, things for us. I worked in a cherry orchard when I was in high school, and every time that I smell a cherry pie or in the grocery store cherries, it totally reminds me of that. And it's like not a good memory, but it's a funny memory, right? Of all the rotten cherries that we had to pick through. And it's just, those things that just kind of have like a little, or a song that I remember from the 9th grade night dance, it was Forever Young. There's just these things that come up. And I think as you're talking about this, it's so fun because the stories are entertaining, they're connecting. Like you say, they help us see the good in life. I think it's just really powerful. It's kind of bringing out the things that we love about our lives, or the funny things that we did. Yeah.
Well, and you just made me think you could create a playlist that you share with your friends or whatever, and say, what do all these songs remind you of? And just see what feedback you get. That alone might be fun.
I love that. In our family, we sing a lot. And so, we could probably create a playlist of everything we've ever done together. We just kind of come up with a song for this and a song for that. I love that. Oh, this is really cool. I think what you're doing is amazing. There's so many opportunities for people. We're going to take another quick break. And when we come back, I'd love for you to share with us, I call it the words of wisdom, a couple of tips for people that they can just maybe start collecting memories. If they're feeling, how do I do this? Just kind of a couple tips for them.
Do you feel stressed, overweight, and unhappy? Are you tired of setting goals that you don't accomplish? Do you want more energy, motivation, and focus to create your dreams? Many people struggle to keep up the commitment, motivation, and confidence to be successful, to reach their goals and aspirations. They often let other things get in the way of their personal health and happiness. It doesn't have to be this way. You can change. Join us for a 6-week online health transformation workshop. Learn about the mind-body connection, overcome obstacles to health, create daily health rituals, get support from others like you, and change your life for good. Register now at flourishwellnessconsulting.com under online group workshops, or email Camille at flourishwellnessconsulting.com. Our gift to you as a podcast listener is $50 off the Transformation Workshop. Use the promo code PODCAST50 when you register. This new year, make peace with your body and like who you are for good.
Welcome back, everybody, to Wellness Wisdom. We're talking about 52 memories, a memory for each week of the year to connect to your family, friends, for your own. I think it's a great way to look at your strengths and your successes, your achievements, things like that. I mean, there's so many possibilities with looking at memories and collecting memories for your family history, whatever it might be. And I'm talking to Devonya Madsen, and she has a program called 52 Memories that she shares with people to help them come up with topics, that kind of give them an idea for the memory that's there in their mind that maybe they haven't thought of. And Devonya, before the break, I asked you if you would kind of share with us a couple of tips that you would have for people in maybe just starting to, document their memories.
I think probably the first tip is just to not make it stressful, not make it such a big deal that it scares you off. Take it a step at a time and just realize that I'm going to do this maybe for a half hour a week or whatever it is, and just start doing it. I mean, isn't that the case with most everything in life?
Yeah,
it's the whole action part. And
go and do, yes.
Done. But I also think, even if you make it maybe kind of a little more fun in the beginning, we have this cake recipe in our family that we have used for years with my girls and I. This chocolate chip cake that really is to die for. And we've used it as a cake that we do for birthdays. My kids have entered it in the fair. It was actually the recipe we used to make my youngest wedding cake. So maybe you have something like that, and maybe you just make the cake and take it to a family gathering and just say, hey, what do you remember about this cake? Do something maybe to make it fun, or take a recipe that your grandma used to make and have it printed, frame it, and give that to your siblings or your mom or whatever. And maybe by starting out with just little gestures like that, you're still doing memories and you're still thinking about things, but maybe it doesn't seem so overwhelming. And once you kind of start to get into the mode of having those conversations or listening to those songs or smelling the cherries or whatever, whatever you're doing, you'll start to talk, and then you'll start to realize, hey, I really want to remember this. My grandpa Joe lived with me really my whole growing up life. And I thought I would never forget the stories and the things that he told me. And he has been gone for, probably 30 years. And I don't remember all those things. And I wish that I had them. And so I just think that, if you can gather together and even talk about them with your friends or your family, it will get you started. And then just document whatever way is most convenient for you. Don't make it too hard on yourself, and find a medium that's going to work, whether that's handwriting, whether that's typing, whether it's a voice recorder, whether, whatever. Or like we had talked earlier, just getting on and creating a video where you're speaking to the subject. Or when you bring that cake, just turn it on and let everybody talk, and then save those things. So hopefully those are a few tips that will just begin, and don't make it stressful, but realize that somebody's going to needs to write it down for it to be remembered. And if it's not you, who's it going to be? And what else is really possible with all of that information? What can you do, and what can you provide for future generations, for those people that are important to you now? And just those interactions, I think once you've experienced a few of those, it gives you a bug. You kind of start loving to share that and to feel those things, and to feel those bonds strengthen.
Oh, I love that. We can make it really simple. As you were talking about, I was like, we have a family Facebook page, I could just start doing a video on there of memories of grandma, right?
Mm-hmm.
I love that idea, that just to make it easy. I even thought of voice memos, right? Like turning on your recorder when you're at grandma's house or you're with your cousin or whatever, and you guys are talking and you're like, remember this and remember that, and just recording those. So some way of capturing those memories, whether it's written or recorded.
Well, to hear that voice, I do still have my dad passed away in 2016, and I still have on my phone messages he left me. So one day when any day when I'm missing Dad, I can just hear him tell me he loves me, and wow, what do you do? So
what a gift that is. That's amazing. Thank you so much for sharing your passion for memories. And I think this is such a great thing for people to really savor the good in their lives, create connection, build their relationships and bonds. I think it's really amazing. If people want to get to know what you're doing or be a part of the 52 Memories, what's the best way for them to reach you?
They can go out to 52memories.com, and that's 52 spelled out. So 52memories.com is the website. It will take you there. You can also, I have an Instagram that you can follow, which is 52 Memories on Instagram, again, spelled out. And just reach out in any way you want. There's an email out there as well that you can.
So it's FIFTY 52.
Yeah.
TW. Okay.
All squished together.
All squished together. Awesome.
Okay.
Thank you, Devonya, so much for sharing this with us. I think this is really powerful. Everybody, I hope you can kind of take a little bit of this and notice how, this helps you to free yourself of some of those limitations that you've had about your beliefs, that it gives you a chance to show gratitude to your family, friends, people that are important to you. And just maybe today think of something that I can savor that's a good memory, something that I love about what I've experienced in my life. Anyway, everyone, I hope you have a great day and you can continue to make peace with your body and like who you are. Take care, everybody.